All right, so the three dwarfs are going for the orb. I will yell in Dwarvish to halt the stupid actions.
And you hear Zephyros say, yes, listen to our elven bard. Are you elven or half-elven?
Half-elf.
Half-elven. So he listen to our half-elf bard. Please stop hitting the orb. And he's just trying to keep his body in between them. He's not trying to hurt them in any way. And they have not seemed to, you don't see any wounds on him yet either. And this character here turns to address you and says, do not interfere with our mission.
And I'll respond, what is your mission?
And you go ahead and give me a perception check real quick. You realize you're talking to a female dwarf.
Okay. From the beard,
and she
right?
says to you, yeah, from the
honest mistake
length of the beard. And she says, we're from the Lord's Alliance and we're here to disable this tower. Stand aside, half-elf.
That's half human to you, is what I respond back.
Okay.
You do realize if you disable the tower, we all go down with it, right?
Our mission is to disable this navigation orb. We're in no danger if we do so.
The rest of us are, though.
And that's about as much as you get out in a 6-second span.
Okay.
So any other actions besides the talking? You still can do all your normal stuff.
I will... I guess I can't talk anymore. So at this point, I will... get myself away from these three. And the orb fills the hole, right? So there's no gaping space around us?
This is the orb right here.
Sorry, the platform.
Oh, yeah. There's no space. It's a perfectly the same size as the hole.
I'll move over to this spot here.
Okay.
And hold my action. If that dwarf moves towards me to attack, I will strike.
Okay. She turns to keep it so that you're not right at her back, but she's not attacked you.
Okay.
Okay, so Zephyros is up. So he again pleads with them. Please listen to my friends. They speak the truth. Why are you attacking my tower? And the female dwarf, who appears to be the leader, says again, our mission is to disable these cloud giant fortresses that keep attacking the north. We're here, and you will not keep us from our mission. Too many lives are at stake. And Zephyros continues to try to keep his body in between these dwarves in the navigation orb. So he's basically trying to body check them away as they maneuver or lunge or try to get around him. That'll bring us to Ian. You can hear the conversation upstairs. It's pretty loud. Everybody's shouting at each other. You were down on the lower level.
I'm assuming they just wouldn't hear me, right?
You could yell, but they're probably pretty focused on the people that are upstairs at the moment. I mean, we would do a perception check to see if they hear what you're going to say. But you can try.
You can certainly try.
Or you could do some pixie dust. You know you want to.
But the hole's plugged up now. We can't go through there. Right?
Yeah, that's a shame.
We can go outside.
We can go on the outside, yeah. Escape plan. Shit, I forgot what I was gonna do.
It's plan B. B for bad.
B for bad. Well, I was gonna tell... I see the look of concentration on Coffee's face, and it sort of reminds me of Tigre's when we were doing that endeavor into the cave. So I figure he's talking to somebody. And seeing that Greybeard still hasn't shut up and Jarral is still looking very pale and a little bit sick, I assume it's neither of them, so it has to be either Ardreth or Finn. So I look at Coffee and I say to tell Finn to tell them that this cloud giant is trying to save the fucking world, as crazy as that sounds. Maybe that'll stop them long enough before we go plummeting into the ground. And I go to I just put my hand on the leg of the table, sort of just to feel like some sort of comfort. Even though if we go plummeting down 1,000 feet, it's not going to do anything, but it makes me feel better. So I'm just like, I have just a hand against it as I tell Finn this. No, not Finn, Coffee.
Okay.
And that's, and I just give us a little bit of space so we're not all crowded next to each other in case somebody does decide to come in and do an AoE attack on us. I can't reach that low.
So we'll move to Greybeard's turn, and he yells up to Finn and Zephyros to come on, send the disc back down so I can get up there. Stupid Coffee won't let me fly. And that is his turn. Finn, you are up at the top of the second floor. This is the one that's been talking and seems to be the leader of the group. The one I'm pinging. And I'm not hearing you if you're talking. I see you lighting up, but I'm not hearing you. Is anybody else hearing him? Am I the only one not?
Nope.
I don't hear him either. He did say to hold on though. Just typed it in chat.
All right, give me a second.
Can I say I kicked Greybeard? Like I just lightly kicked them to tell him to knock it off?
I just got a message from Greybeard who says, he says hold on in chat. Awesome. Alright. He must have did something to his headset on the other side. Alright, well we'll do some more conversation with Ardreth and the leader here while waiting for Logan to fix his voice.
Can you hear me now?
There you go, you're up.
Oh my god. Super annoying. I have no idea what happened. Alright. I move off the platform to that position. I'm going to talk across both of these dwarves, and I'm going to say, we have just come from Nightstone. This giant is innocent of whatever you're accusing them of, and we will stop you from harming him or his property. And I will attempt to persuade them, if at all possible, in that in that speech.
Let's use a persuasion check. See how effective you are. Nails it.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
So, yeah, the female dwarf here begins, is kind of thinking, you can see the wheels kind of turning behind her eyes. The idea that, well, wait a minute, you're elven, half elven. They saw a dwarf down there. This cloud giant hasn't hurt anybody yet, has only tried to stop them. And she does think that's kind of strange because, and she looks to you and says, and she tells her companions, she says, let's hear him out. Go ahead and put your weapons away. And these two dwarves, they kind of move to side by side, but they put their battle axes away, and she moves here to address you. And she looks at the cloud giant, says, all right, I'm willing to listen, but you need to release my team. And Zephyros looks at her, and he's really earnest, and he's trying to kind of keep the peace. So he releases these three from the mass suggestion that they're under. And they kind of shake free, but they have their weapons still out, but they're not moving. They're just waiting to see what their leader says. And the leader kind of walks up to you and says, we've already disabled 3 of these fortresses that have been dropping rocks and killing hundreds of people, destroying several villages in the north. And we're on a mission to stop any of these cloud giant fortresses that we see. How can you tell me that this wasn't part of it? And you see Zephyros has a really guilty look on his face, as far as he doesn't know why his people are attacking the small folk. It's not something that he does. He he's trying to help you guys, and he's pained to hear that his brethren, or some of his brethren, are out there causing this problem, or causing this destruction, and causing this loss of life.
Tell her. Look at his face. It's clear as the day. This giant has done no harm to anyone.
And she looks at him, and she can tell. Let's do an insight check with her. Let's see how well she reads him.
And how about this? I'll give you my word as a paladin of the light that this giant has done no wrong.
Yeah, she got a good read on him. Okay, and she's looking at him, and she puts her weapons away, and she's looking at him, and she's like, well, we're given a mission, and we don't normally just not do our mission. And then you hear her, you see her look up, and you hear the dragon land on the roof again, and his head kind of pokes down through, and she's staring at him, obviously in some type of communication, and the dragon has stopped doing whatever he was doing, and they seem to be having a quick conversation between the two. And then she turns back to you, and she says, are you sure this tower has not dropped boulders on any of the settlements of the north? And she looks at you.
I'm going to do a quick insight check on Zephyros myself.
Yeah, you could tell he has a pained look on his face, but it's not from guilt of like, yeah, he's out marauding or anything. He is devastated to hear that there are cloud giants out there harming small folk.
I will tell her that. I will say, just because he is a giant does not mean he is evil. All of our people have evil amongst our race. I cannot call all humans my friend, and I cannot call all dwarves my friend. But I will call this giant my friend.
And she again, she looks up to the dragon, and the dragon kind of in a very loud and deep voice says, he speaks the truth and he hides no lies. And he begins to talk to Zephyros, the dragon himself, and says to Zephyros, tell me you have not attacked any of the settlements of the north. And Zephyros looks at the dragon, and he kind of says in his old voice, I would never attack the small folk. These lands are your lands now. I am only here to help them. And you see the dragon kind of nod, and also he says to the female dwarf, he hides behind no lies. He has not attacked anything in the north. And these three down here, they sheath their weapons, and they move to their kind of group here. And she kind of holds her. She puts her stuff's already put away. She holds her hand out to shake your hand, Finn, and she introduces herself as Diana Ungart, leader of the strike group from the Lord's Alliance, sent by Queen Dagnavit herself to stop any of the cloud giant fortresses that are attacking in the north.
I will reach my hand out and shake her hand.
She says, with these dire times, we have to do what we have to do. But the dragon says that neither you nor him are lying, so we will take this word back to our queen and let her know that there is a friendly cloud giant fortress among the skies in the north. But that doesn't mean we won't stop any of the others. And Zephyros kind of looks to her and says, I will do everything I can to stop my brethren from harming the small folk also. You can count on me for that. So at that point, Zephyros goes back to the sphere and he's casting some type of spell because there's damage to the navigation sphere. And the dwarf says, kind of looks up to the dragon and says, well, we're going to go back down. We're going to stay here for just a little while if you want to pick us up, and then we'll be heading back. And the dragon says, kind of gives a nod, kind of flaps its wings in a great gushing of wind, and then you see it move from its head was kind of coming down from the 20-foot circle in the roof, and you hear it flap. You see it through the windows as it dives down, and then it lands outside on the cloud to await the dwarves. And now sits outside of the entrance. And then Zephyros finishes his mending spell to fix the navigation orb, and he says, please, everybody stand on the disc, and I'll bring you back down to the first level. And then we'll bring everybody down to the first level.
Meanwhile, Greybeard is just yelling at everyone to get him up there.
I think we need to have an intervention for Greybeard.
Yeah, he has a problem.
I think so.
You just need some spice to take the edge off.
Zephyros back at his chair. Dwarves over here on the side. And you can see it's a mixture of male and female dwarves. They're all kitted out in the same type of armor. They're obviously, a strike group. This is their leader, who you guys were talking to.
Can we ask her for more news of the north, since we're heading to Tribor?
Yeah. So she kind of mentions that her team has already taken out 3 other cloud giant fortresses that have been floating around. They've destroyed the navigation orbs, and it'll take those cloud giants a while to go ahead and fix those, and they're deciding how they're going to deal with those. They appear to be attacking certain settlements, but they haven't been able to figure out the pattern. And so they just have a general standing order that if they get any word of a floating fortress, that they're to bring the strike team in and disable it, and then they take off. And the dragon Clarion is the name of the dragon, has owes the queen a favor and has volunteered to deliver the strike team when needed.
Have they taken anything from these settlements that have been attacked?
They're not sure. She has only dealt with the fortresses themselves. The cloud giants obviously try to defend the towers, but they haven't had any interaction. Once they've disabled them, they've escaped again. They don't stay and fight. They're typically a lot bigger fortresses than this is. They were surprised by how small that this was just a tower. And Zephyros kind of nods as he says that you don't see very many cloud giant wizards towers. Normally it's more of like a floating city or a floating fortress. They're much bigger, and there's a lot more cloud giants in them. But they usually keep to themselves to the north, and they don't deal with any of the the settlements, but since the breaking of the ordning, there are obviously those who believe that they should be out proving to their gods where their place in the world is. And there's arguments between the giants. Even Zephyros gives this information, on how to do that. Some, like he has a different opinion of what should be done about the ordning versus, some other faction of Cloud Giant that has a different opinion of what should be done. So there's a lot of turmoil even within the races of the giants. Plus, there's still a lot of raiding going on, and even Diana can attest to that not only are there Cloud Giants raiding towns and villages, but there's been reports of fire giants, stone giants, hill giants, giants of all kinds coming down from the mountains, coming from their lairs, leaving the places that they've seen, and attacking different settlements and areas all over the north. The north is being besieged mostly by giants at the moment.
Are the giants mostly in the north? Is that where they've been hiding?
That's where they've a lot of them have been since the ordning was struck. Their kingdom, Zephyros kind of gives you a little information that you guys live in what used to be the giants' kingdom. This whole area used to be ran by the giants and controlled by the giants, but there was a great war between the giants and the dragons, and the time of the giants had kind of passed, and their kingdoms have kind of passed, and they have moved further north into smaller settlements and have left this southern area to the smaller folk who have kind of claimed it and now have their cities and empires and factions and countries and things. As it's their turn, it's kind of been in their minds that it's been their lands, even though there are still there's evil giants just as well as there's good giants. There's neutral giants. There's just the same as there are, like Finn was saying, with humans and dwarves and elves. There's good, there's bad, there's neutral, and of all kinds and all factions. So it's no different than any other society.
And is the Lord's Alliance the only group are they the only group that's working towards getting rid of these giants?
Diana says to you, no, I'm sure there are other factions that are working to get a handle on what's going on. All of this has been happening probably in a 2 or 3 week time, and it's all happened fast, and everybody's just now learning about it. It's a pretty recent thing, so nobody has any real idea of how to stop it, what it's gonna take to stop it. It's not like armies have been raised and they're gonna charge the north or anything. Everybody's still reeling from the attacks of the giants, so they're just doing what they can. Their faction is trying to stop some of these cloud giant attacks. There are other factions that are doing other things in different ways, though she doesn't know the details of them.
So no news of Tribor directly?
Yeah, she doesn't say anything that she's heard anything happen to Tribor.
Excellent.
Is
Perhaps
there anything we should be looking out for? Sorry.
I could say perhaps the Pharaoh should not go north with us.
Yeah, he's beginning to think that he only wants to get about within a day's travel for you guys, maybe a 2-day travel of Tribor, and then drop you off, not try to just bring you straight to the Tribor town.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I'd hate for him to get into any more trouble on our account.
Okay. So the dwarves, after taking a quick rest and then having the conversation with you guys, begin to put all their stuff back in their packs, check all their stuff, and they start to head out towards the dragon.
What's her name again? Diana what?
Diana Ungart. Ungart.
Awesome. Thank you.
And they begin to file out. And she'll be the last one to leave. Any last questions or discussion with Diana?
If we were to sort of like learn anything about these giants, or need help with giants, or wish to help with these giants, is there anyone you would recommend us to go visit?
That is a great question. Let me bring up one thing.
Or, you know, if you have any like giant experts that you might know, that'd be nice.
Any spoilers, anything?
Let's see.
It's the typical, if we ever need help, who can we call?
Yeah. She says...
Just in case we have a big need.
Yeah, just in case it happens. I mean, I doubt it'll happen.
She gives
But,
you
you
the
know.
name of... there's a merchant, she says, that runs the lion's share in Tribor. That if you want to pass any information on to the Lord's Alliance, you can speak to her. And her name is Alestra Olgar. Alaestra Olgar, Ulgar, and she's a Aluskan human. So if you have any information, or you feel you want to pass something on, or you need to contact her again, send a message to that person. That person can send a message to the Lord's Alliance, and it will get to Diana.
Where is she at?
She's in Tribor, and she's in the lion's share. She runs the lion's share, which is the Lion Shield Coster. They call it the lion's share. It's kind of like a adventurer's outfitting merchant.
Sweet.
And she bows. She winks at Greybeard on the way out, and then heads out. And then they all, the dragon grabs the dwarves within the claws. They all ride on the claws. They have these leather straps that strap them to the claws of the dragon. And the dragon, you hear the wings of the dragon swoosh, and they take off back to the west and head out.
Yeah, no problem. Don't let the curtain hit you when Moradin split you.
Oh, when he's not craving the pixie dust, his voice sounds so different.
So different.
It is,
Right?
yeah. All right. So an eventful day. It is moving into the evening. And Zephyros thinks he gets the tower moving again. He's going to move through the night, and he believes if he travels through the night, he's going to be able to drop you guys off about 2 days from Tribor, and then you'll just be a 2-day walk to Tribor from there.
That's fine.
Hey, he said 1 day.
He's worried about scaring the small folk any further at this point, or being attacked once again. All right, so let's clear out our turn order, and we can get rid of that. We're out of combat. All right, anything you guys want to do for the final evening with Zephyros before the next morning?
No, I think we've gotten all the information he's ever going to give us out of him.
I think I use the time to practice playing some music and get a good night's sleep.
All right.
If
Anybody else?
Greybeard or anybody else wants to work on some tactics, I will be happy to practice with them. Otherwise, I will sing along with Ardreth.
Jarral is gonna put himself against one of the legs of the table and try and get into a trance so that he just wakes up when they arrive.
And every so often, when he's about to go to sleep, I go, Jarral, come sing with us.
What a cunt. That's amazing. Before you start doing your music-y stuff, or after, it doesn't matter when, I go over to Ardreth and I take out the beak trophy I've been working on. And I hold it in my hand and I say, where I come from my village, whenever we overcome a great obstacle, whether it's having to defeat a beast to join the guards or to move up in rank or we survive an attack, it is a custom to take a trophy from the dead beast to keep with us, to remember the strength and the bravery and courage it took to overcome such an obstacle. And because you're not practiced in such art, I decided, and because you were killed, I took it upon myself to, before they threw off these giant vultures, to take off the beak, and I hand them the beak that has a chain on it from the giant vultures, and it's as a remembrance to the, I guess, just not to say obstacles again, but the obstacles you have overcome, and for the many that are yet to come.
Well, thank you. That's truly appreciated, and I'll take the gift and put it on.
And
But you can tell Ardreth is kind of uncomfortable at that moment.
I mean, like, sentiments shared. Ian gives a sort of like a firm nod and goes off to one of the opposite walls from where the group is and just like sits there and observes what's happening and eventually goes into a trance for the rest of the night.
Ah, cool. Go ahead and write down inspiration if you didn't have it. That was good. I like that. All right, Greybeard and Coffee, the only two I haven't heard about what you're going to do, if you wanted to do anything before we move to the next day.
First off, I asked Zephyros, hey, where's the privy in this place?
And I yell, just walk over to one of the edges.
Yeah, he kind of says, well, over the edge, it should be fine.
All
And
right.
he has a little twinkle in his eyes as he looks at Ardreth and he says, well, watch that first step. It's a doozy.
All right, then.
And then
Watch
Greybeard
out.
holds it for the rest of the trip.
Don't step in yellow cloud.
What do you think I've been doing so far? No, I'm good.
Don't eat
I'll,
yellow cloud.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll hang out and enjoy the music or spar with Finn a bit.
One of the locals down below says, damn, first rocks and now yellow rain.
Ouch.
New meaning to acid rain.
All right, Coffee, anything for you?
Nope, just chilling.
All right. So the night will pass uneventfully. You guys have had plenty of adventures here. The morning, actually the sun hasn't quite risen yet, but he's flown throughout the night. He gently wakes all of you up and brings you guys outside. And the sun hasn't quite risen yet, so it's still kind of a purpley sky. It's going to be probably, the sun will rise probably in about a half hour, maybe 45 minutes. And as you guys come outside of the tower, you can see that the tower cloud is sitting on near the ground, and the cloud steps have formed. And you are right next to the trail, kind of a clearing near the trail of the road that heads north to Tribor. And so he kind of brings all of you guys out to the... I'll bring you out here. And...
Jarral's the first down the stairs.
Yeah, and he he bows to all of you, and he thanks you profusely. He vows to talk to his cloud giant brethren and try to stop them from attacking as much as he can, and he'll gather together those cloud giants that he knows to be good to try to get them to stop. And he apologizes once again as he looks at Ardreth with a pained look, because he still feels very guilty that Ardreth died while he was trying to help you, but in fact just ended up interfering. So, but he says, continue on your travels, stay true to your morals and your goals, and I'm sure we will meet again sometime in the future. And then there are stairs that lead back down to the path.
And I tell Zephyros that he should let go of any concerns for what occurred, that I owe him truly a debt of life, and if he ever needs anything and I can be of assistance, that I'll be there to help him.
Yeah, and you see a really relieved kind of look. There's still guilt in the eyes, but the idea that you've offered some relieving of that guilt for him, and he has a smile on his face, and he thanks you, and he watches as all of you kind of descend the stairs to the ground, which are only probably, the cloud is probably sitting on the ground, so it's only about 30 feet thick. So you descend about 30 feet of cloud stairs to the ground. Let's move us over to probably our map. Where I'll put everybody. And we'll move our party icon once my map loads in. There we go. And you guys are probably about a day and a half or 2 days if you just are leisurely heading north on the road, and you are on the long road that heads to Tribor. All right, give me a ooh, that's really good. Yeah, you get it. All right. So you guys are on the ground, and you see the cloud. The cloud steps begin to dissolve, and then the cloud begins to rise again, and then you see it drift over the Sword Mountains, heading west, as it disappears into the sky and begins to move off. And you guys are now sitting on the road. It is dawn is approaching. And you begin to move north.
Head north.
Do we need to march in order, or are we close enough to a big city to worry about it? Not worry about it.
Well, you're still, depending on your pace. If you're just gonna take a leisurely pace, it's 2 days. If you're gonna push or press, you can do it in a day and a half. Or if you're gonna really try to press on, you can do it in a day. If you want to kind of jog and walk, jog and walk, jog and walk. Depends on what you guys want to do.
I'm all for jogging and walking. There's a sense of urgency now. Could be surrounded by giants for all we know.
Yeah, Coffee, give me a D4 roll. 1D4. Yeah, okay. And then, yeah, what is your typical order? Ian up at the front?
Yep.
How far forward?
I'm about... what's my movement speed on this character? I'm about... I would say like a 30 feet, 40 feet in front.
Okay. So, and that's pretty common. So Ian is up at the front. Who who's next in line? Are you guys walking double?
I'll go up front with
abreast?
her as well.
I'm
Jarral.
towards the back as usual.
Okay.
I'll stay next to Greybeard.
Ambling along somewhere in the middle.
Okay. So you're not going to be with the group then, Jarral?
Yeah, I'm gonna be up
It
with
seems
the-
like she's kind of scouting ahead.
Yeah, I'll be scouting as well.
We can't even see in the light, I say to the dwarf. Not the dwarf, I say to you. Jarral, in character. I'm like, what are you doing? You can't even see during the day.
It turns out things have changed.
You got that strip of fabric over your eyes now.
Yeah, right.
And it's all been in his head this whole time.
Yeah, it's all been in his head.
I roll my eye.
All right.
He
So you
doesn't
guys are
tell
walking
anybody though.
along. Yeah. And yeah, coffee. About 3 hours down the road is when you realize that pouch is gone. And obviously, somewhere along the line in the last night, or at some point during the day, Greybeard, or somebody has taken the pouch from you.
I know exactly who's got it.
I hear a bus.
It's the dwarf floating next to you along the path.
Noted.
His whole beard is just covered in dust. You're
Wait
not
till I-
supposed to snort it.
You're a
Wait till I
junkie.
get my fly spell. So you want to fly, dwarf?
All right, so you guys travel along. Day passes. Nothing happens, so you make camp on the road.
To the side, yeah.
Okay.
Did we
So-
see any small game while we were going along?
Not near the road. This is a pretty well traveled. You'd have to get off a little ways to probably try to find some type of creatures.
Can I kind of skirt the trail then as we're going along off to one side and look for some game for dinner?
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a survival check. See if you capture anything. Yeah, you're able to pick off a rabbit or two as you leave the side, the group, and you get a little ways off. You're probably 500, 600 yards from the road. You can probably still see them just barely, but you're able to pick off a few small rodent creatures, rabbit-type creatures in the fields to the sides of the road. You're able to bring them back.
Okay. Then when we settle in, I'll start skinning them up and cooking them. Of course, Jarl's a vegetarian, so he won't want any of this, right?
All monks, right?
Yeah. No, he's not a vegetarian.
And he's a drow too, so it's just mushrooms.
Mushrooms, yes.
God, two
All right,
things I hate most.
let's take our second break for the evening, and then we'll come back, which will bring us one day within reach of Tribor, our next town that we're going to enter.